Hey Giants, have you ever wondered if hypnotherapy works? You're going to want to stick around for this episode. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris. As always, I'm here with your host, Nicholas T. Smith, and today I've got a special League of Giants member, Melissa Ross, who's going to introduce our guest. Melissa, your turn.
Hello, I am so excited to be here with the both of you today and with our special guest, Maureen Pisani. She is a friend of mine and she is an amazing lady. Maureen is a certified master hypnotherapist and the founder of ProThrive Science Based Hypnotherapy, where she works with individuals and groups to help them empower themselves, streamline success, and truly thrive. Maureen is also a very well-renowned motivational speaker and was the resident hypnotherapist at Chopra Center for over 8 years. That really impresses me. I'm excited about that. I'm so excited to have Maureen here with us today and hear about how she used all of these techniques that she uses with her clients on herself to heal herself. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be amongst giants.
Yay. Did you hypnotize us already?
Yeah. I feel my eyes spinning.
Look into my eyes.
This is going to be a good episode. I like the leaning forward into the microphone.
Sorry. There you go.
I need to move my microphone over here so that when I lean in, it's this side versus this side. Well, we're glad to have you. Melissa, nice job on the introduction. I don't think I could have done that well. I would have shortened it. Like Maureen said before the show, I'm busy. That's it. Like I would have said, this is Maureen Pisani, and she's busy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So, no, let's dive in. We're going to go through. So we got about an hour, and it goes by quick. And so we want to dive into your history. So can you go back in time all the way to the beginning, the dot that was called Maureen on a dot in the world, right?
Yes.
Will you tell us what it was like for you and where you grew up?
Absolutely. I come from the island of Malta, which is in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. Unfortunately, it's too small to usually make it on a map. So Google and zoom in. That's the honest truth. And it's loaded with history. St. Paul was shipwrecked there in 60 AD. So it's literally mentioned by name in the Acts of the Apostles in the Bible. And trust me, I'm not that powerful. Will somebody else know? It was unique. I lived life growing up there. It was very family oriented. So, I'm not joking here, hundreds of cousins. If I went back home today, I'd tell you guys, that's my cousin and this is my cousin. And don't ask me if they're first cousin or second cousin or third cousin twice removed. They're all cousins. That's how we grew up. Everybody was connected. There was love. And it was innocent. It was fun. It was roll up your sleeves and get the job done. We were always taught to be, taking action. So my grandmother had a saying, make sure your right hand doesn't know what your left hand's doing, because hands are the devil's shop. So they always kept us busy. And they kind of had their hands filled with me because don't give the secret away, I was kind of naughty. I was mischievous. I was the ball of energy that they could never control. I mean, if something broke, the first name was, where is she, Maureen? And then if I answered close by where it happened, it was my fault. If I was on the other side of the house, I could get away with it. But it was interesting. And then I knew growing up that it was a loving family, but something happened and it changed my life forever. Easter Sunday, which is a few weeks from now, Easter Sunday many years ago when I was 8 3/4, my dad had his third heart attack in a week, and I was the oldest in the house when it happened. And he woke me up moaning, Maureen, wake up, I'm dying. So it changed my life. I knew what to do. I'm the oldest of 3, so I was the nosy buddy. So when he had the first 2, I asked my mom. And I'm like, so what's going on? And she said it was a heart attack. Who knew what it was? And, just in case, because they always had to give me the in charge jobs, just in case this happens, do that, just to basically shut me up.
Yeah.
And she goes, just in case, you do this. And 2 days later, I did. Called the doctor, called my godmother. They came. I ran to church because mom was at church. It was Easter Sunday. By the time we come home, the cardiologist is there, the doctor is there, and he's in a medical coma. And he was in a medical coma for 60 days. And we didn't know he was going to survive. And that was a pivotal moment for me because first, I decided I was going to be a doctor. And then I had an experience where a needle went straight across my face into my mother's arms. And I realized how much I detested needles. And then I announced to the world at the ripe old age of 9 that I was going to help people without needles. Until this very day, that's exactly what I'm doing. As I was growing up, within those 60 days of him being in a medical coma, we had a bomb put to our front door because Malta's very political and we weren't on the right side of politics at the time. And that again was transformational. So it comes to the point where I have a lot of good memories, but then there are those milestones where I know they impacted me and changed my life forever.
Yeah. There's some traumas in a way, because I was reading earlier about the bomb and that the dog barking actually helped maybe prevent that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Tiny
poodle. A little bit more. Yeah.
Poodle, this big. She barked so hard and we had scratches on the inside of the door till about like 5 feet. And I remember I was 9. So I was so innocent at the time that when I remember things, it's almost like a redacted movie. I hear the voices and they go, why isn't this? And there's a gap because I couldn't even recognize that the word they were using was bad. So it just didn't register. And they couldn't get the wires to connect. The neighbors, the husbands of the families next door were out on the balcony shouting at them, screaming. And the dog flustered them and they ran away. Till now, I have no idea who they were. And then my mother went into hysterics and opened the door, which could have blown up the whole place.
Oh, yeah.
And went running after them in her nightgown.
She threw a sandal at them. That's what I picture. Is like
sandals at the time, but if she could have. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was very seriously traumatic. And at the time, I think it was one of the 2 times of my life, as a 9-year-old kid, I realized I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I realized that I didn't have the physical strength. My dad, being in a medical coma, was dead weight. So I knew I didn't have the strength to drag him out of bed and take him to the inner side of the house, which would have been safe. So that was one of the incidents where I was very aware of being small and afraid because I knew I couldn't control the situation.
Yeah, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I can imagine if she was responsible for the home, we would probably eat peanut butter and jelly every day. Yeah. And we'd watch TikTok videos. That would be our life. But
we would do some art at my house too. I have a 9-year-old too. We'd be doing some art all day. We'd be on the floor.
There you go.
So you start on an island, a dot in the world, and going into it that you're going to be a doctor. That your life is not going to be held up by this island, no matter whether you stay there or not. You're going to create things, and so you start announcing it. I'm going to be a doctor. And what happens?
Well, the thing was this. I knew there was something different inside me because I knew when I spoke, like my parents, as much as they loved us, they sheltered us. And if they could have wrapped me up in cotton wool, they would have. So contrary to all American parents who are striving for their kids to succeed in some kind of sports, Dad every morning would have a litany. No jumping, no running, no skipping, no hopping, no tag, no this. And he's literally giving me orders, right? And I'm maybe, 7, 8, 9, with my fingers crossed behind my back going, yes, Daddy, yes, Daddy. And I was in every sports team. Every sports team. I was in the national basketball. I was a water polo player. I did everything. But when I was growing up, it didn't matter what you peaked in because there was nothing to take you to the next level. So when American kids have, the college athletics and then the pro sports, there was nothing leading that. So I did my best, and whatever I got involved in, I usually peaked at, but then it was a dead stop. And that happened too many times for me to be satisfied that this island, now my entire family's there, and I hope they're watching because I love them and I wish them the best. But for me, I knew it was stifling. I knew that if I had to move forward to the extent that I determined, it had to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I love the courage that took. I love the courage that took to know that and to move on from that, knowing that I was reading earlier all of your backstory as well, and knowing that all of your family is still there too, and some family throughout the rest of the world, but knowing that and having the courage to move forward on your own and reach your giant potential on your own. I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I think there's a metaphor in this too, because we each create our own island. I mean, in a sense, we get into this comfort zone and we're like, yeah, it's beautiful here. It's Malta in a way. I'll stay here. Even if it's not beautiful, I'll suffer through it.
Yep.
But, at 16 years old, reading your story here, at 16, you're watching the Olympics and you're like, yeah, I know where I'm going.
Yep.
And it's not here on this island. So feeling that stuck point of I can only go so far where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to step off this island. I mean, what a metaphor for life is that you can stay on the island and be fine. You can go through your whole life and accomplish whatever you can accomplish within that island.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment you step off and you say, I can do more, that's where it all shifts.
Absolutely.
Was that your experience?
Yes. It helped because back home, I was an X-ray technician. So I did the entire training. I worked night shift ER. I worked in the infamous St. Luke's Hospital, which was a 1,500 bed hospital for 500,000 people, one hospital. And I mean, pandemonium was the name of the game.
Whoa.
But the thing is, whenever I worked, I was the only X-ray tech who worked in 2 out of the 4 private clinics. And the patients still there had never traveled. The patients would ask me where I'm from. And I was like, here. And they're like, no, you can't be from here. And I was 19. And it was something that was like, oh, look at that. So if I don't fit here, I must fit somewhere else. And then when I came to the States, apart from the fact that I had to pinch myself on a daily basis because I'm like, it happens still today. When people complain about traffic on the freeway? I remember sitting one time on the 5 freeway going north from San Diego to LA, and I came to a junction between the 5 and the 805, and there were 17 lanes, 17 lanes of traffic. And it's a dead stop, okay? It's Friday night, and it's a dead stop. And I know everybody's blowing a gasket, and I'm crying because this is America.
Holy cow, yeah.
Because I was here. And this 17 lanes would have taken half the island up. So 17 lanes of traffic, and I'm amongst it. And it's real because I'm touching the steering wheel. It has to be real. It was insane. So when things happen like that, I'm like, it's happened. I am here. It's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, man, what an attitude choice, right? Same situation for everybody. You're all stuck in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is blowing their gasket. I've been there. I've done that.
Yes.
And you're sitting there saying, this is America. Man, wow.
Yes.
So was life easy from there? You came to America, you're sitting in 17 lanes of traffic and everything's golden? Never another issue in your life?
No. That would be boring. Come on.
That's the end of the interview.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Right. Isn't that right? So when you think of, how when we get EKGs, we see the line going up and down. You don't want it flat. Flat is a very bad thing in life.
Flatlined is bad.
You want ups and downs. So yes, there were definitely ups and downs. I had an amazing. The first thing that struck me about America, which was the amount of churches. When you're raised out of the States, it looks like a never-ending party. And everybody is atheist and everybody is non-religious. And you come here and there's a church everywhere of every single kind. So I'm like, wow, that's the first thing that hit me. Then I started getting into the getting to work and getting to know how people worked. And the first thing everybody asks, sometimes even till today, oh, what a cute accent. Where are you from? So almost 27 years later, it's still happening.
That's what they say to me too.
Yeah.
That's a cute accent.
I just say Tennessee.
Utah.
Yeah, Tennessee, Utah.
Yours is much cuter than mine.
So,
But keep going. So, yeah.
but no, it's fine. So then I ended up working as a medical historian, and it was fun for me. Again, for me, it was fun. I know. So the thing is this: I wanted to be an X-ray tech, right? I wanted to be the same thing I was back home. I had the training, got the CRT license, but to apply to work in a hospital, you need something called an AART. And I applied and I submitted everything, and I had the transcript sent from the University of Malta to them. And then they sent me this letter stating that I could be in very serious trouble because according to them, I was fraudulent paperwork because according to them, I was inventing countries. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. So to me, I'm like, all right, okay, I guess I'm not going to be an X-ray tech in America. So then I became a medical historian, knew medical terminology, knew how to type, and I typed at the speed of speech. So I would interview a patient and about 45 minutes, type 7 pages. Learned Spanish in the meantime. It was fun. To me, again, it was fun. But you know how people get carpal tunnel in the wrist? Well, as a kid, I played the piano. So I typed with a flat wrist, and that my elbows got injured. So I ended up having cubital tunnel syndrome, which started a very downward spiral because this situation led to 10 surgeries, 5 on each elbow.
Oh, wow.
And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. I did everything they asked. And the first 6 were literally done for nothing. Commenting with, could we have had the wrong spot? No, we couldn't have had the wrong spot now, could we? So
it's something you don't want to hear when you're going
No.
in, coming out of surgery.
no.
Wow.
No.
You've got the wrong spot.
Oops.
Oh, yeah. And the thing was, I mean, the scars are still there, but if you go on the website, the pictures of the surgeries are there and they're god awful. I'm giving you a heads up there. So we end up at the end of the line. I lost 80% grip strength on the right and 75 on the left. Holding a cup with 2 hands was a gamble. I never knew. I mean, it was completely unpredictable. And they end up at the end of the line. For them, they ran out of ideas. And the conclusion that they thought, they could come up with was 100% disability, Social Security, lifetime supply of medications, and bye-bye. And I was 30. Do you think I came to this country 30? Not a chance. And then they were surprised because I got upset. I'm telling them, I'm like, you are not washing your hands off me. You're not throwing the towel in. You cannot claim that. And they're like, I remember one psychologist, I'm looking, I don't have my, there, 1 second.
Yep.
One guy, literally with his glasses, was like this. He tipped his head back and went, so, what are you going to do? Just like that. And I looked at him and I'm like, I don't know. I had no idea. I knew I wasn't going to give up. I knew I wasn't going to accept the label of 100% disability. But I didn't know what the next thing was going to be. And those were the darkest days because I remember sitting in front of a TV. It wasn't even turned on, but I was begging God, please, God, give me a life. Please, God, give me a life. That's all I had in me. That's all I could muster to pray. Stumble on hypnosis. No idea what it is. I had 2 questions. Does this go against the church? Because obviously being Catholic, I can't go against the church. And 2, can you do this without your arms? And the guy looked at me and goes, yeah, if you can snap your fingers, you can. So I start a program. I have no idea. And my arms are hurting more than ever. So I go in for a session. The guy was almost flippant. He's looking at me. He's like, so what's the big deal? Have you seen my arms? That's the big deal. And he does the session. I feel nothing. You know, all the hype that you see on TV, all the stage hypnosis, all the people quacking and dropping and passing out. Nothing.
So we're not gonna quack on this. I was waiting.
Not today.
A lot of people that want to see Nick quack like a duck.
I might start bobbing my head here a little bit, but
To mess with people, I tell them that they're not going to quack like dogs. then they start thinking, they're like, what?
yeah.
Hey, right?
Dogs quack.
In my world, they don't.
Yeah.
I like that.
So when he did it, I was incredibly disappointed, to be honest. I was deflated. It was completely anticlimactic. I had no idea what I went in for. Only the next morning, from the shoulders to the wrist, the pain disappeared. So now I was curious. I was on 24 pills a day. 14 of them were pain meds. We want to talk about opiate situation. I was maxed out on 5 prescriptions. And the next morning, there's no pain.
Wow.
And then I go in for my second appointment. And the pain disappeared. Done. History. Never came back. Won't come back.
That just gave me goosebumps all over. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. To me, to be quite honest, it's the closest I can come to call it miraculous. Yes, there's scientific explanations why it happened. But for me to go in with nothing to lose, by the way, I went in with nothing to lose because I had already lost it all.
Mm-hmm.
I used to introduce myself, and this is serious because looking back, I knew I meant it. I'd go and meet somebody and say, hi, I'm Maureen and I'm worthless. I would say that out loud because that's how I felt. I've been working since 15. I was a go-getter. I was a hands-on person. Now all of a sudden I can't wash my own hair. So talk about looking up to bottom. Rock bottom was above me.
Yeah, it's interesting about that is even though there's a lot of people that don't walk up and say, hey, I'm so-and-so and I'm worthless.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling that comes across as they introduce themselves might as well say that. Does that make sense? So there's people out there that I've felt in that position before where I felt like I wasn't, I was small. Like I didn't have anything to contribute and I was failing at life. And as I introduced myself, that's what came through. Mm-hmm. So I can relate to that. So when you said that, yours was very, in the physical form, saying that out loud and because you're looking at your, elbows that aren't working, life that's in, disarray.
Yeah.
Bumping up against all these questions and frustrations in life.
Yeah, but it still caught me off guard too. I'm thinking back to when I was in that, like I can relate to that too, and thinking I was worthless and thinking that I, didn't deserve to be here and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't saying that out loud. And I'm thinking, gosh, did I really ever believe it so much that I would have said it out loud? Like, I can just imagine the gravity of the state that you're in to say that out loud.
So
and not just with your energy.
What brought you out of it? What would bring somebody out of that? So now that we're aware that that's present, what brings you out of that? Well, how do you shift that in your body?
I never gave up. There was something inside. Now there are some people who are rebels. There are some people who are rebels during their teenage years, and there are some people who are just fighters in their heart. And it's almost like life is a Rocky movie. You know how 75% of the movie he's being beat up, and then something shifts and all of a sudden now he's winning and we all root for him? I have that fight inside that I didn't care how many people were going to tell me to my face to give up, to get used to it. This is the rest of your life, to my face. And the more they told me, the angrier I got, the madder I got, the more I was like, no, you are not going to determine my life. Because basically I had 24 years of being in Malta where people kept telling me no, no, no. So I was kind of trained. It was like and it was maddening because in the situation, did I have people around me? Yes. But was I alone? Absolutely yes. Because nobody could see that I could do it. Nobody could even hope that there was something inside me to turn it around. It was a done deal. I mean, the book was written and locked. It was done. And I kept saying, no, this cannot end like this. And today I can tell you divine intervention did happen because I stumbled on hypnosis through the stupidest of things. You guys are way too young to remember the show Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, you gotta love Starsky and Hutch.
So back home, growing up, Starsky and Hutch were in America. So I was one of their biggest fans. And there's going to be a fair where they had the car from Starsky and Hutch. Now, seriously, I would have crawled on hands and knees to go see that car. So I went there because it was like, oh, and yes, there were big signs, don't touch. And I did touch. So, and seriously, you see it on TV and then it's right there and you're not going to touch it. So I went there for the car from Starsky and Hutch. And right next to it is this lady offering free handwriting analysis. And she introduced me to the concept of hypnosis.
Yeah.
So if that isn't God working in mysterious ways, I don't know what is.
That's amazing. I picture you, if you've seen Monty Python, The Search for the Holy Grail, where he fights the Black Knight and he cuts his arm off. It's just a flesh wound. Maureen is that knight that no matter what's happening in her life, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. I can keep going. Mm-hmm. And so that, we used the word before, indomitable.
Thank you.
That's how I describe you. When I picture you in my mind, it's this indomitable spirit that it can't end like this. No. I'm a rebel for life. And you spoke about anger, and I want to talk about that briefly because anger, we often put this negative connotation with anger. And anger is a higher level emotion than a lot of other emotions.
Yep.
And so it can actually get you into action. And that anger in your space is like, no, you don't tell me what I can't do.
Absolutely.
And that could be very powerful.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Anger for me, and I get what the usual description of anger is, like anger management where people are punching holes in walls.
Yeah.
Anger for me is a fuel. Anger for me is that transition when they say, you can't do it. And I go, watch me. That's where I use anger. When somebody attempts to squash me down, like when parents ruffle the kid's hair or pat the kid's head. With all the respect to her, my mother used to do that to me and pat me on the head and call me Mighty Mouse. And that would be like putting nitro in my engine because I'm going to show you. And it was always that, and that got me through. Because then I had psychiatrists, psychologists, orthopedists, neurosurgeons, neurologists, everybody telling me, get used to it. And I'm like, no. So that fuel, and use it, guys, whoever is out there watching, use it because it's yours. No, control it, okay? Don't just go hitting people, but use it to move you forward. Because in my world,
I want to hit on that. Like you dump gasoline on the ground, it does nothing. You light it, it burns, right? Yes. You put it in an engine and it goes places. And so how you use it really matters. You could have that anger where you're just spreading it everywhere and lighting the world on fire, but it's really destructive. But you compress that into a useful motion and it'll take you places. And I'm sorry I interrupted that, but man, I added a butt in there. I'm sorry I interrupted the butt. I'm not. That was powerful. Like anger you can use it as fuel to move you forward.
Yes.
What a powerful
I always have.
concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the powerful part about that is that Maureen did choose to use it as fuel. And lots of times we don't think we have a choice when that's there, right? And Maureen recognized that she had the choice to let it stifle her and sit back and not do anything or use it as fuel to move forward. And she chose in that powerful way to move forward and use it to grow.
Yeah. I love this. Yeah, keep going. Like I want to keep going for a couple hours, but I will keep it within range here. So
the thing with me is this. I want you to think about when we used to go in restaurants.
Yep.
So you're hungry, you decide you want to eat, you go into a restaurant and they hand you a menu. Just because you're looking at the menu, your stomach isn't full, right? You have to order, they have to bring it, and you have to eat it. So the thought needs an action to give you a result. There's a huge percentage of people who go, I wish I could. I wish I did. I wish maybe if this happened. Stop wishing, just do. I wish I'd write a book. Do it. What's going to happen? I don't care if nobody buys it, but at least you do it. If we go from the, some people think about, now, if we think of the brain and the very base of the brain, like right above the roof of your mouth, there's a tiny portion called the insula, and the insula acts on anticipation of reward. So if I tell kids, I'm taking you to Disneyland, they're already happy right now. They haven't gone to Disneyland yet. And that's how most people live. Oh, at some point, I'm going to make it. No, do it now. You want to impress me? Do it now. Show me proof. And that's how I treat me. I'm not going to tell you what I'm about to do, because what I'm about to do may never happen. When I do it and it's done and it's reality, then I'll tell you.
I love that.
Hugh, who's following right now, I see him post on occasion. He'll say this. People ask him the question, what'd you do today? What'd you accomplish today? And he says, what I accomplished. I mean, it's a really simple answer, but it's profound. It's you do what you do.
Yeah.
But the directing of that fuel for that fire is really up to us. We get to decide what we do with all of our energy. And so, like you say, you direct it. I'm 100% in. I'm going to put all that energy into it. I know where I'm taking it, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing until I've done it. Yeah. See, even your nod of the head, like, that's what
I told you.
Guys. There's something where we have so much. Every day is a beautiful opportunity. How we use today is going to transform all of our tomorrows. But we never do anything tomorrow. We only do it today. So coming from, if today, now the thing is this, with me, I joke about never doing 50% or 97%. It's either 100 or nothing. Why? If I gave something an 87% effort and it failed, it's on me, because I didn't give it 100%. But if I give it 100% and it still fails, then my conscience is clear. Then I know I've given it my best, and then I can wash my hands and walk away, because it wasn't meant to be.
Maureen, I'm one.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to ask.
I wasn't going to ask anything. I was going to let them try to ask you a question and then wait patiently.
I know, right? And then wait.
Yeah, go ahead, Melissa. I got mine anchored in.
Okay. I was just wondering about mentors or oh, you're brutal. I was wondering about mentors or anything like that in your life, because you keep saying that it was you that pushed you forward and you had this drive, and I love that spirit that you came from, and I love that place and that courage that you had. But I know that there are a lot of people out there, myself included, who didn't have that strong drive and just knew that they were just going to keep going and were stuck. And I'm wondering if there was anyone along the way that, helped you through that, or was a catalyst to you moving forward in any of those times when you really couldn't feel into that and couldn't move forward.
Yes. There were people who, so let's look at life as a flight of stairs. If I was on the base and somebody was 3 steps ahead, I could look up to them and learn what they could teach me and reach up to step number 3. And then if somebody was 20 steps ahead, I could learn from them, right? And many people showed up in my life to show me that next step. And I am amazingly grateful to all of them. And when that step was achieved, then life happens. And as our paths converge to meet, to help me and teach me and guide me, then our paths diverged and they went on their way and I went on my way. So there's an intense sense of gratitude to all the mentors, but they were always temporary people. So they showed up, they gave me their 2 cents, and then they continued. But there were also others who taught me what not to do. And there are also others who, and I'll never forget this. I will be in my late 90s and still smirking at this one. But there's one who was never a mentor and who helped me tremendously because of him giving me his worst insult. I said it on purpose. And I say it in the books. he came up to me. I was an instructor in the first college, and he was an instructor. And I had offered something that was commonly done amongst instructors. And he started, and he was a very, very, how can I put this? A very blonde man, so very, very pale skin. And he came up to me and he started getting a little bit annoyed. So he started turning pink, and he became a little bit more pink, and he became a little bit more red. And suddenly now he's the color of a tomato. And he's with his finger like this, and he yelled at the top of his lungs in front of all the students. And he said, "Do you know what's wrong with you, Maureen?" Now I'm quiet because I know I have breaks. So in my mind, if I don't say anything, he's going to tell me anyway. At the top of his lungs, he yells, "You are unstoppable." And I'm like, don't smirk, he'll have a stroke. Don't smile, you will just. So I'm really grateful he had that outburst, because he gave me the insult, which was actually a huge compliment. So, hey, he told me I was unstoppable.
Yeah.
I own it.
I love it. Yeah, keep going.
Why not, right? It comes in all ways. So mentors sometimes can teach you exactly what to do because they've worked it out. So you minimize on the trial and error lifestyle. You minimize trials and errors, which is a good thing. But some people, through showing you what not to do, help you too.
I think a lot of us anchor onto a mentor. We want this idea of I need a mentor right by my side the whole way through. Like I need to depend on that, because without them, I don't have the power to do this on my own. So I've got to have somebody there. And the power of a mentor is when you were learning to walk, as an example, you had people that showed you what walking looked like. And there were people that were good at it. And some people, maybe they're drinking or whatnot, they weren't so good at it. But in all of it, you learned something. And the development of that skill, that ability to walk, was on you to go out there and practice walking. The mentors can give you an example, but you didn't have to hold on to somebody your whole life to have you walk. You watched the mentor, you got your lesson, you learned it, you practiced it, it became efficient in your body. And so I love the idea that mentors are meant to be temporary, whether they're positive or negative experiences. That mentorship, whatever that experience is meant to be temporary. And sometimes we keep it alive inside of ourselves because we have this insecurity that we need. I need that. Maybe I'm inaccurate in that statement, that it's our insecurities. What came up for you? I see your eyes going.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me what came up right there.
The thing is this: you gave the example of teaching a toddler to walk. Yeah. You're 1,000% right, because yes, we need to teach them how to walk. But then look at the baby. Look at an 18-month-old, right? How old are they when they start walking? 11 months. So let's say you teach the baby. You hold them by the arms, and they start walking. But then they risk it, and they walk by themselves. And the only time they find out that they can walk is when they can do it alone. Now, they fall under diaper 1,000 times. But you've never heard a baby say, "Well, that's it. I'm done. This walk is not working for me.
This isn't mine."
To this day, I don't walk.
I wasn't designed for this.
So and that's what I talk about. So if the baby can do it, if that spark of independence, if that spark of, well, this is interesting, this is curious, I've never done this before, let me give it a shot, keeps happening in an 11-month-old, we got it in us.
I want to hit on this a little bit, because you go to that risking, you step out of your comfort zone and you try something new, and there's stress in that. So the body feels that whole experience of stress because it's not balanced. It's not what you're used to. And so, and correct me on this if I'm off on this, but I think we pursue homeostasis. We pursue balance in a way. And so we go to this space of, I'm going to stretch and push. And then as we get efficient at it, it becomes homeostatic. It just becomes natural for us. So it's not stressful. But without that pushing, that new level of homeostasis couldn't have occurred. And so we've got to push and balance. And am I accurate in that?
You're 1,000% accurate. And here's what I explained. We were born this big. And then change happened, because none of us are this big. So something happened inside us to grow. But because the change was physical, we never stopped at 3 feet and said, okay, I've grown enough.
Right.
We continued allowing, and there was continuous change. Now, the piece that most people don't get, there's the physical homeostasis to stay 98.6 degrees, but there's also mental homeostasis, which is why hypnotherapy works. Because what happens in the unconscious mind is that when you're on the money, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. When we get into the state of, today I am Maureen, this is my life, this is my income, this is my lifestyle, we have a mental homeostasis, which becomes what most of us know as our comfort zone. But what if that happened when I was 20 and got stuck? Am I really supposed to stay in the same lifestyle since 20 for the rest of my life? We all want better. We all want to grow and evolve. But unless we engage the unconscious mind, we do not change the mental homeostasis, because the unconscious mind hates unknowns. So at 20, I was making 20,000 a year, and now I want to make $1 million a year. Why should I be stuck here?
Interesting.
And that's where the little loophole is, and that's why hypnotherapy, to answer your question, does work, because we access that old style programming and upgrade it to what you want today. Because, by the way, if you change your mind tomorrow, we can re-upgrade it tomorrow. And then your new comfort zone won't be rejecting every single effort you push in to make your life successful. It'll be supporting and in alignment with what you want to achieve. Then
I love this. This is like hitting so home for me. We resist change, period. We resist it. Whether it's positive or negative change, we resist it. And so we could have the best thing going on in our life and resist it because we're so used to our comfort zone of what we know. And
Yes.
so stepping into that new thing, even though it's a positive thing, we could say, I don't want that. And it's a matter of programming is all. So hypnotherapy gives you a chance to bring up your programming, to update it, to upgrade it so that it aligns with the positivity, the new stuff.
Absolutely.
Huh.
When we receive a notification on our phone, notice to upgrade, do we kick and scream? No, we plug it in and let it do its thing.
I do ignore it. Can we do this on
Maureen,
Sunday
can you
evening
tell
at
us
2
a little
a.m.?
bit more? Right, eh? Maureen, can you tell us a little bit more about what kinds of things you help to heal and overcome in the hypnotherapy? Because I know we've talked about lots of different ailments, and we've talked about money blocks as well, being healed through hypnotherapy. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. We have something called a financial comfort zone, which is determined by how much money your parents made when you were 8 years old. So if life was comfortable, you at least have that life can be comfortable, but you're limited on how much money they earned. If you want to upgrade and make more money now, hypnotherapy can actually reset that financial comfort zone. And with hypnotherapy, you're completely in control all the time. There's a cognitive portion where we basically strategize how much money you'd like to make. I had a client this week. We're working on increasing her sales. The next day, she sends me a text. First sale, more than $1,000 in less than 12 hours. It works ridiculously fast. Guess why? Because it's in alignment with who you'd like to be. So when it comes to hypnotherapy, I specialize in pain. Now, my company name is ProThrive, because if we look at life as a number, right, 0 to 10 scale, most people are living at a 3. Most people are miserable. They really don't know what the heck they're doing or what they're going to do and improve it. Why stay at a 3? We can be living a 9. So let's get this moving. When it comes to pain, all kinds of pain, hypnotherapy, I have a side effect-free pain management technique that literally reduces pain from 9s to 2s, like that. Financial pain. You know the Jim Rohn quote, when you have too much month at the end of the money. We don't need to do that.
Yes.
You have pain from divorces, deaths. I mean, right now with COVID, we hit 500,000 deaths in the States. Death is horrible, especially when there's no closure. And I can get people to reconnect and soothe hearts. You have pain where it comes to success. Keep going and, hitting your head against a brick wall. And then you always wonder why the wall isn't bleeding. Your head is. Let's make things happen because we're here. We have time. And personally speaking, I'd much rather improve this morning than tonight. Because why waste a day of being miserable?
Yeah. Somebody asked a question just now about unconscious. How much is unconscious? They used to say subconscious, but the scientific term for it is unconscious because it's not in your conscious awareness. And even that consciousness can't be defined by science yet because they don't fully know where it originates and where it comes from. It just is. And so that isness, that thing, yes, that just is, some of that is in the background running. Our body is designed in such a way that there are systems created so that we don't have to think about things because there's too much information going on. So we only pay attention to what we deem as important. And so how much of our resistance is unconscious? Probably most of it. And
yes.
And so my thought here is with the conscious portion, with hypnotherapy, it seems to get beyond that conscious because the consciousness is what keeps that active and alive. It reaffirms based on what we're sensing. Correct me if I'm off on that. Because I'm learning from you and I just want to speak it because I want to learn it even more.
Of course.
But that conscious portion, when you can get beyond that into that unconscious world where most of that resistance occurs, you can shift what your consciousness sees. And now it's no longer blocking you from those things. Now it's supporting you in the creation of those things. Is that accurate?
Yes. So the easy way to describe it is this. We all work on computers.
Okay.
We have the monitor, and for people with PCs, they have the CPU. Nothing I see on the monitor is going to happen unless it's processed by the CPU.
Yeah.
For me to put Photoshop on a computer that's 30 years old, I have to upgrade the motherboard. That's how we work. The conscious sets the goal. I would like to be a multimillionaire. My unconscious financial comfort zone is, let's say, $50,000 a year from my parents. So there's a big disalignment, right? We're out of alignment here. So unless I upgrade my unconscious financial comfort zone to accepting that $1 million is safe, will not backfire on me. Because remember, we have identifications, associations, and responses. So if growing up, you heard one of your parents or one of the adults say, oh, so-and-so is so rich, he's a crook. Well, I don't want to be a crook. So I won't give me the $1 million because I need to be honorable. Or I would like a big house. I would love to live in a big house. But what if something happened to you, like, yours truly, who had trauma? So when it comes to a big house, that means too many windows. Well, what if there's too many windows for safety, which means a big house is not safe, which means forget the big house because you're not going to get it. Because everything your unconscious mind comes up with is as a protection to keep you safe. So when it comes to how we wish, how we project, the setting of the goal is exactly by the conscious mind, like you said. The achieving of the goal is by the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind, some people say, is 88% of your capability. Some people say it's 97%. So when you give your absolute best, you're the most diligent, you're most consistent, you're most everything, you did everything perfectly, the best you can achieve is 3% to 12%. That's it. Now, if you had a company with 100 employees and 12 people were working and 88 were in the back smoking, would you make a deadline?
Okay, I'm going to challenge that a little bit.
Go for
because
it.
in most companies, I work in sales, and the majority of the sales come through about 5% of the performers. And so my answer to that would be I can reach that goal with only a fraction. So if 5% can accomplish this huge goal, and I would say 95% of all the wealth that's created in a company, then I would push back on that and say, yes, I think we can still hit it. But the challenge is that if there's resistance from the rest, and maybe they're dragging them down, then the answer would be absolutely not.
Exactly.
So if they're all grabbing shirts and saying, no, you won't, you're not going to do that, I'm going to pull you back.
We behave
culture and the programming makes a big difference in that.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't it incredible to know that it's not another person pulling the shirt, though? It's ourselves.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about that, it's our unconscious, right? So it's our own, we're pulling our own shirt down and holding ourselves back. It's not somebody else. And that's what blows my mind with it. I'm like, we're holding ourselves back and we don't even know it in our unconscious.
Yeah. And the thing is this, we need to have a sense of belonging. So stepping out and becoming successful when everybody is average is going to split and make a difference. With all the respect to my family, and I've said this already, and I'll keep saying it because it's true. I love them tremendously. But when I left to come to the States, it was a scandal because she left the family. So we have things that, yes, first of all, we're pulling ourselves down constantly because to be different is not always to be gooder. Good. What the heck?
I like that word. Yeah, go with it.
We roll with that stuff around here. Gooder and gooder.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, man, that was something. So it doesn't, to be different doesn't mean better. Doesn't mean, I can't believe I said that. And
I love it. This is awesome.
Only coffee. See,
hey, I've been in the U.S. my whole life. I still can't speak English. So.
Well, I'm thinking this is one of our goodest episodes that we've done. So
I don't know how it could get any gooder. I'm just waiting for it to get goodest.
It's gonna come down. That's gonna go down in history. So it is something where we keep ourselves stuck, and we deserve. We're here. We're given a day. We've done nothing special to deserve waking up today. But we're here. So we're given the opportunity to receive this glorious day and to use it in the best way possible. Because in the moment of judgment, we will be asked, what did you do with what I gave you? And that, to me, is very important.
Can you distinguish deserving versus entitlement? What comes up immediately as you hear that?
So deserving, technically speaking, I mean, I'm going to point only at me because I don't want to judge anybody else, but deserving to me, I've done nothing to deserve special treatment. And I am humbled by the blessing that God gave me today because he thinks I'm deserving of another day. Entitlement is when I take that deserving for granted and I start taking things as my right when they're not. To walk in, let's pretend, I've never done this and I never will, but let's pretend I walk into a hotel and I feel entitled to their best presidential suite. Who am I to ask for that? When it comes to deserving, I deserve, see, the thing is this, if we split it down, I deserve to be treated with respect. I deserve to be treated with honor. I deserve to be told the truth. And to me, deserving in that case is boundaries. But technically speaking, deserving is a more humble energy for me. Entitlement is a more arrogant energy. Where somebody has been treated with so much abundance that they don't even think that it's an effort for everybody else to create it for them. And unfortunately, and I'll use a very old Maltese saying here, when people used to go to the water pumps to get water to basically walk it, hold it in the buckets and take it back home, they would have a piece of wood. If you put a bucket of water and walk, half a mile, the water sloshes and you lose a lot of it. If you put a piece of wood on that water, you just keep it there. The piece of wood will create so much water tension that you protect how much you lose. So it sloshes less.
That's all I had to do all this time? I'm losing water all over the place.
Water all over the house.
Yeah.
So if you look at it like life, to be without restriction, to be without burden, will get you to be too loose. But if we have a little bit of a burden, if we have a little bit of constraint, when we earn it, we actually achieve it. When we achieve it, it's ours. And then the entire self-identity realm improves because self-confidence is, can I do it? Yes. Do I deserve
Steve
it?
Hardison.
And it just echoes throughout.
Man, I want to keep going. Like we're at 9:55 already on our time here. We've gone almost an hour, and I want to keep going. But we'll honor time here. And
I'm here. I'm good.
I love this. The beauty of it is that when you talk about the mind, you're talking about a whole experience. The mind, we often put it right up here. Like,
Correct.
This is my mind. Well, the challenge is that all of your emotions they're created. Most of those chemicals are created down in your gut and throughout your body. And so the mind is really the full experience.
Yes, there is a delineation. The
Yeah,
brain,
okay.
is up here. The organ is up here.
Yeah.
The mind is about 6 inches out. And you're absolutely right. The mind is the entire experience.
Plus,
Scientists can pinpoint where the thought of the impulse begins. Like, when you say you're thirsty, they can pinpoint which part of the brain is shooting the first neuron to get your arm to grab the glass of water. They cannot find where the thought I'm thirsty begins.
right.
Because it's ethereal.
Yeah. The ether, right? The ether. They used to call it the ether, this unknown. And it can feel like that. And there's this connection and this knowing. And so this ties me into intuition. Like intuition, we did a video the other day on the gut feeling. And the gut feeling is just one component. Like if I were to decide all of my decisions by one component, there's no way I could do it. But intuition is a whole body experience, it seems. It's like every part of you knows I need to act on this. The whole system knows, rather than just the gut knows or just the brain knows.
Correct.
This is the right thing to do. And so do you have some experience around intuition and how to create that? Yeah. Can you talk about it?
Absolutely, yes. When it comes to intuition, to me, it's a feeling, it's energy. And if you imagine when you first started driving, you know how you couldn't control the gas and brake pedals, so you lurch forward or you push back. So whenever, and I can talk about this with the books, I will ask my unconscious mind, tell me when I'm ready. I give it a job, work on the book. And then intuition will tell me, go do it now. So I won't start writing a book until I get that feeling inside. And the funny part is this. So this one over here, whoops, it is. There we go. This one, it's right here. Easy. I have them ready.
Easier.
So this one, Invisible to Invincible, took me 6.5 days to write. Because I call it percolating, and I allowed the feeling, and then I got this, do it now, and flowed. This one, which just became a bestseller March 1st in 3 categories, I'm proud to say. This I wrote in 6 sittings. And every time it was, do it now. This one, and I only have the sale because I ran out of the books, but Against All Odds, which was my first bestseller, this I wrote in, if I'm not mistaken, 30 days total max, because, as you guys know, I was basically running the rest of my life with clients and appointments and meetings and all that stuff. But people tell me, I've been writing my book for 10 years. That's like, oh my gosh, that's worse than dentistry without lidocaine. Trust inside. Because the hesitation is because the energy isn't there. So become aware, start becoming aware. Become aware of neutral, become aware of happy. Especially if people are empaths. They need to find out how they feel inside, because if they walk in a room and somebody's feeling lousy and they feel lousy, they need to identify and delineate which is theirs and which is somebody else's.
This is beautiful. When you upgrade your system, you're thinking, you're processing that whole experience. The download begins, It still takes you putting pen to paper. The action is what takes that thought into reality. And so it makes the intangible tangible.
Yep.
It makes the non-existent existent.
Yep.
And it really does still come down to what you do. So you have an intuition, you have that, okay, it's time, and you ignore it, then there's no creation from that intuition.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it. Any other thoughts from you guys, Ryan or Melissa, around that?
You go ahead, Ryan.
I'm just soaking it in. I'm loving this, man. My mind is racing. I'm booking a session right now.
I have booked my session with Maureen. I'm actually really resonating with what she said about the empath, walking into a room and knowing what your emotion is and what your energy is inside of you, because I've had that happening to me. I've all of a sudden been sitting here and felt like a beating heart or like anxiety come on, and I'm going, this isn't me. What's going on here? And I realized that I'm feeling it from someone else that's there. Yeah. And so I really, as an empath, resonate with what she said there. That just blew my mind, because I've been coming to that reality myself too, just knowing what your feeling is so that you can stay with that feeling and knowing when you're taking it on from someone else. I love that. I
want to jump on that. And Maureen, I want you to hang on to what you're going to say.
Yes.
And the empath, I think we are all wired for empathy. And here's why. You look at a quantum level that photons are entangled. And once they're entangled, they are the same throughout the universe. They're connected throughout the universe, no matter where they are. And they just showed in 2019 at the University of Vienna that they can take a 2,000 atom mass and have it exist in two places simultaneously. So to say that we can actually feel somebody else's feelings, I don't think it's too scientifically stretched to say that we actually feel other people's feelings. And it's not just empaths that do it. I think we're all wired for it.
Some might be more conscious about it, right?
That might be it. Mm-hmm. Maureen, what comes up as you hear that?
The thing is this,
fractals.
Sorry.
I love that word. Thank you, Hugh.
I was raised in a culture where intuition wasn't something that existed. So I would feel it and I didn't know what it was called. And the best way to describe it, you remember the show Columbo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember the dirty raincoat he always wore?
Yeah.
I'd be in session and then I'd get this feeling like this dirty raincoat of gunk was like, ugh. And it would be totally outside of me. It would be like an emotion that I'm not really used to. So if I'm in session and I'm safe, calm, healthy, focused, and all of a sudden now I have this crushing chest pain, that's not mine. Or I'd have this feeling like I'm stuck and I can't get out of this constriction. And then I would ask the client, listen, I might be 1,000% wrong here, but is there something about, being constricted? And they'd be like, oh, how did you know? Because I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell them I felt it. And now the cat's out of the bag. But the thing is, where you need to start allowing.
I'm wondering why the cat was in the bag.
Who puts cats in bags?
No. Instead of the box, it was in a bag.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's something where I want you to come in from allow, investigate, and ask. So in my world, if I'm in session and I'm focused on a client and I start getting these feelings that technically aren't mine, first I ask, is this for them? And I'll get a feeling, yes or no. Is this for them today? If I get 2 yeses, then I share. If I get a feeling and it's a no, that means either somebody in the building is feeling something or going through something, or they're preparing me for somebody else who's about to show up in my life. But always be allowing and ask, because ironically, you do get answers. You only have to listen. You don't say, is this for me? Tell me it's not. You just allow.
People kind of do that.
Yeah.
You just opened up another rabbit hole.
Yes.
I mean, but I'm not going to go down that road. I want to honor our time. But the thought, I'm just going to plug this thought and maybe we can sit with it, not answer it here, is that maybe that person was the pathway for another person that they don't even know about, connect with, anything. But that opening created that next situation to occur so that you were ready for it, because we are connected. You know, that empathy that we described, like Diana just said, some people are more in tune with their antenna. You know, you feel somebody else's energy. You don't have to go around wearing their coat all day, especially when it's a small and you're a large. It just doesn't feel good.
Put on their coat.
Yeah. But to say, is this mine? And to be really clear around that. And if it's not, if it doesn't fit, to take that coat off, to just drop it and just move with your energy. I mean, that takes, I would imagine that's a skill and a practice and an upgrade as far as your operating system.
Yes. So to leave people with a tool that they can use. If they do pick up energy from other people, taking the salt bath helps. If they don't do baths, they can add salt to their shower gel, and then that way it'll help pull out stuff too. They can ground, something called earthing, walking barefoot, 20 minutes minimum, grass, soil, sand, or water.
I've actually got my bare feet on an earthing pad that's plugged into the ground wire that goes out to the earth. And as we talk, my bare feet are on an earthing pad.
We used to go do full moon groundings all the time. Like just go put our feet on the dirt and watch the full moon.
Just be salty. Be salty.
And we have a symbiotic relationship with trees. So, they exhale oxygen, we inhale it, and we exhale carbon dioxide and they inhale it. But trees also, if you hug them, if you lean against them, if you just go and read a book with your back against the tree, the tree will actually absorb all your negative energy and replace it with positive.
I've got an additional thought for you that you can anchor and take with on that, is that trees have their brains in the earth and their bodies in the environment. We have our brains in the environment, and our feet should be anchored to the earth. So that ebb and flow. The challenge is we put rubber between our feet and the earth, and so we don't have that connection. And I love this. Maureen, I just want to nerd out with you and just keep any day. But if you were to give one final piece of wisdom, something that you've picked up along the way that you could share today, what would that be?
You can do it. Each of you out there can do it. The only thing you think you're risking is the action. But when you think about it, if you do it and you fail, where do you land? Where you are right now. So you don't lose anything. You're not risking anything. Just do it. The only way we find out how far we can go is by going there. And when you're exhausted, take one more step. That's it.
I got to write that down. The worst that can happen is that you end up where you are.
Yeah. That's all we do.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
To be a multi-millionaire and fell splat on my face, I'd end up right here today. So what exactly did I lose?
Yeah. Amazing. So how do we find you? How do we support you? What are you working on?
I'm everywhere. I always joke that I was my ex-husband's worst nightmare because I'm everywhere. So I am, my company name is ProThrive Science Based Hypnotherapy. So my website is prothrivesbh.com. I am on all platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm available to serve, and I am here to help as many as possible, whether individual or groups, whether business or personal. I am here to make an impact. So please find me and ask me whatever questions you have.
That's beautiful. Okay. And I've got the website up there so people can find you. I'm going to go grab some of your books today. And so we'll get that going as well. Any other thoughts, Ryan or Melissa?
I think I just created a new T-shirt because of you, and it's an "I am a giant," but then it's going to say "everywhere" across the bottom there.
Oh, I like that.
I like that too. I like that too. Yes. I've learned so much from you today, Maureen. We've talked lots outside of here, but I've learned so much from you today. And I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here with us today. And I want to thank you for sharing your energy with us and sharing your time with us.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys. It's been an honor to have so much fun with all of you.
It's
And
perfect.
if something resonated, go share and like this. Go like it on YouTube. Join the Tribe of Giants, where we have a community of like-minded individuals that are pushing each other and helping each other, and there to support. And man, you know what? Go support Maureen as well, because she's amazing. She is a giant, and I've got pages of notes here that I'm going to go back and I'm gonna work on Ryan 2.0 here.
There you go.
Upgrade the system.
I like that. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
Giants, thank you for watching. Maureen, thank you for being a guest. Go make it a giant day. It's totally up to you. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah.